DNC chair, and former gubernatorial candidate, and current chairman of Green Tech Automotive, Terry McAuliffe.
All right, great. Thank you, Gordon. Great to be with you. Off the resume, I did chair Bill Clinton's re-election. This was the first time a Democrat had been re-elected since Franklin Delano Roosevelt. It was Bill Clinton, and Barack Obama is going to be the other Democrat.
Hey!
Folks, I thank you all for coming out tonight. It is great to be with Brian. Great to be with Mike. Give them another great round of applause.
Yeah!
They worked so hard. We got an important election, and we're asking all of you, and Ben's in charge of the program, we need you to make some phone calls. That's why you're here tonight. So we're going to try to make 1,000 phone calls tonight. I want to talk a little bit what I think are important talking points for you, because this is a critical election. I've been involved in politics a long time. This is a very bizarre year. I start out with, first of all, we ought to be on the offensive. This idea that the Democrats have been human pinatas for 2 years absolutely drives me crazy. We have done everything that we said we would do to the voters and more, and we've allowed the Republicans to define us. We got to stop it, folks. We got about 13 days to make sure we don't allow these Republicans to get their false messages. President Obama said he was going to do health care. Let's just talk about health care, because everybody talks about it. And you know what? I say to the Democrats, many of you have been on television a lot recently, I've said to all of them, you pushed health care, it was their top agenda, why aren't you talking about it? So get out there and defend what you did and be proud of it. We had spent 17% of our GDP we spent on health care. That is a killer for our economy. The closest country to us today is Canada, who spends 9%. We had a horrible delivery system. We were spending more than anyone else. It wasn't working. We had 38 million Americans in this country that had no health insurance. And when they went to an emergency room, guess who paid for them? You did. The system didn't work. Now, what happened before Barack Obama passed health care? Under George Bush, every 2 years, the premiums were doubling. Costs were out of control. People were having to lay people off because they couldn't afford their health care costs. And the year before President Obama became president, 5 million people were thrown off their insurance rolls by private insurers. And where did they go? 3 million of them went onto Medicaid. Who do you think paid for that? The system wasn't working. And the year before Barack Obama became president, the insurance companies made a total 26% more profit than they had the year before. And at the time, they're throwing 5 million people on the streets. Folks, it wasn't working. President Obama went in, he dealt with health care, we passed it, it was tough. We may not have agreed with all parts of it. We didn't get everything we wanted. I happen to have been a big supporter of the public option. But you know what? We are better off today than we were before. And that's why we got to get out there. So please don't let people on the phones talk to you about health care. Because under George Bush, the rates were going way up. We had low inflation. The rates were going out of control. Under President Obama, everybody's now in the system. Nobody can get thrown off. And for all of you young people, I have 5 children. Under the law now, they're now can be with me now until they're 26 years old. So you're all going to stand your family policy now for a lot longer. But it was the right thing to do. You talk about all of you are young. One of the biggest things which we're not talking about is the student loan reform that went on last year. This was a tough. And the Republicans said they want to repeal health care and they want to repeal the student loan reform. What did student loan reform do? As you all know, it got rid of the middleman. No longer. You now deal directly with the government on these loans. It saves you and the federal government over $60 billion. You now will get a loan for 20 years at a fixed rate so that you no longer can have these rates go out and you therefore are thrown into bankruptcy. The Republicans want to get rid of that. So all you young people here, you want to be, this is what we have done. This is something tangible that the Democratic Party has done in past few. George Bush didn't want to do it. Republicans want to repeal it. And the most important thing, I think, are jobs. We've passed the stimulus, and they're going to hit you on the stimulus. Let us be crystal clear. If you take the numbers today, take TARP. Right now, they say of all the TARP money we spent, we're going to get every penny back. At the worst case, we only will lose $50 billion, which out of a $14 trillion economy is less than 1%. The stimulus, 95% of Americans got a tax cut with that stimulus bill. We kept the firefighters, the police officers, nurses, doctors, got the other third, and then we did infrastructure projects. We're probably at the end of the day going to make money on this stimulus bill. It's important because if you look at the auto industry, what they wanted to do if we didn't do it, over 1 million people, 350,000 auto workers, 650,000 suppliers would have been thrown on the street. And today, we're going to get all our money back, and those 1 million people are still working for us.